You want to voters? You want to come up?
We're good right here.
Okay, you're good. Okay, well, very good. Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to talk about civics, and we're going to just have a kind of a open discussion about civics. And to get it started, I wanted to play a video here. There's a program called iCivics. Supreme Court Justice O'Connor has been behind, and I'll just play the video and we'll start the conversation. Hopefully technology works.
There she goes. Okay.
iCivics is my most important legacy. I care about it a great deal. I think it matters. Over half of U.S. middle school and high school students. And that's great. I want to reach every one of them if I can. I want to see it used as an educational tool for every student in all 50 states. I want students to learn how the government works and how, in essence, they're part of it. They're part of what makes us function. But if they understand how it works, they can more easily become part of it. iCivics couldn't exist without our donors. And we need people to donate to iCivics to keep our resources free and innovative. We need civic and political leaders at every level to take up the notion of civic education and make it a priority for every student in this country. It really is the key to keeping going in this country in the right direction. We need teachers to consider the resources and to expand on their methods of educating young people about how government works and how their participation as citizens will be critical throughout their lives.
So the sound wasn't very good on that. So hopefully you don't have railroad ears like I do. But Sandra Day O'Connor and the late Justice Souter started this iCivics and talking a lot about getting civic engagement among our students and in our communities and finding ways to encourage that. And the reason we called this meeting was in the most recent school board elections, we had communities where we had as low as 14% turnout of the voters. And we feel like probably the next generation's the one we're going to be able to catch, because the current generations, they're going to do what they're doing. But if we can get folks engaged in civics and knowing what's going on in government and knowing what's happening in our state and in our nation, maybe we can get more engagement. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about and hear your perspectives on, and see if you maybe we could figure out a way to move on.
If you don't mind, could we introduce ourselves to everybody?
Sure.
I know Marty from that, but we could introduce where you're from and something like that. It would be a big help to me up here.
So my name is Dr. Ryan Bodenstein. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Learning Services for West North Public Schools. Subbing for Dr. Adams at a prior commitment today, but happy to talk on behalf of Leavenworth.
Thank you.
Marty Copsa, I'm the Superintendent of Lansing Public Schools.
And Lauren Feldkamp, Superintendent at Tonganoxie.
And then we in the back.
Yeah. Could you come up and join the crowd up here?
I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
I saw you trying to sneak in, but you got to join us. Hey, welcome.
And then in the back we have, I'd like you ladies to introduce yourselves too.
Cynthia Forrester, I'm on the board of voters, subbing for Kelly Butler, the president.
Welcome.
Diana Thurlow, I'm just a participant.
Welcome.
And welcome. And we also have with us Fran Kepler,
Frank Kepler, County Clerk, West Thompson.
and then a couple members of the public. So to get this kicked off, I'd like to kind of just have each of you give your perspective on what's happening now and what you think, anything that we can do to engage to help you. We have and just kind of seeing where we're at now as far as civics in Kansas. I noted one thing when I was looking at this iCivics, I noted that we don't have a state mandate on civics in Kansas. Some states do. So I guess we start at the end.
Sure. So for us, we've tried to emphasize civic within, especially our secondary, middle school, high school programming. So we've offered civics as an elective course at our middle school, as well as a lot of those areas are blended in within American government, U.S. history, those courses. Had a couple days to reach out to our social studies teams, and they actually use the iCivics simulations as part of the work they do within that, and trying to post the Secretary of State voter registration information in their classrooms and kind of that broad, and here's what's going on, knowing that most of our students are not 18 able to vote. When I inquired with them as far as kind of future needs or ways to partner, they talked a lot about coming into our advisory settings to talk about how to get registered to vote and kind of bringing that piece more to life directly with those in the community. They do a great job bringing in speakers, but I think that's always the area that could be beefed up and prioritized, and just that broader engagement piece as elections come up, knowing that you have an audience who may or may not be registered to vote, but bringing that to the forefront for them.
Thanks.
In Lansing, it's interesting that you say that because I'm old. So back in 1993, I taught civics in Atchison. And when I started teaching in Kansas, and it was a required course. So every freshman took civics. So that's now no longer the case, obviously. Where most of the civics and voter engagement happens is in American government class, which is a senior class in the high school. And sometimes that's a little more powerful because it feels like it's more relevant, meaning that those kids are getting ready to turn 18 if they haven't turned 18 already, and can be part of that. So what we really talk about is making sure that our teachers are not partisan, number one, that they're presenting facts about parties, issues, those kinds of things. We help students get registered to vote through that process within there. And then we also emphasize the fact that the most important responsibility of an American is to vote within a democracy. And so making sure that our students are well aware of that. I think one of the things, like for you all or the public, is they kind of look at it and go to our website and look at our GVC, which is called our Guaranteed and Viable Curriculum. And within that Guaranteed and Viable Curriculum, you can see the things that we teach in American government class. And a big part of what we do teach is that the political issues, and then there, and I don't want to take too much time, but I think one of the things that's said is all politics is local, right? And I think we see motivation, and maybe you saw that in the school board election results as well, is where there was more passion, contention, whatever you want to call it, in regards to those elections, voter turnout was higher. And so sometimes it's those issues that motivate people to get out and vote as well. I just think it's interesting, Leavenworth County and in Lansing, as we have military, we have different people who come into the community, maybe aren't as tied to the issues or some of the candidates or some of those kinds of things, that don't take it as seriously maybe, or aren't as directly connected to those issues that are going on, that help that. So I think just continue to do a good job. County government days are always powerful things where kids can come in and visit their local governments to see how things are done and what's going on there as well. So that may be something to talk to our legislature about as well, is we want to require civics as a freshman. But again, I think that connection happens with those seniors as they're getting ready to turn of age to vote. That's a really important piece of our curriculum.
Yeah. No, like I said, my name is Lauren Feldkamp, and I'm a product of American government and civics. I taught it for 20 years. And so I'll have to echo what both of you gentlemen just said. It was required in the school district I taught in for 20 years. We were actively involved in county government days. Our student council was very involved in getting people, registered to vote. We brought in the people from the county into our building to talk about voter registration and those kinds of things, and so that was powerful. The only question I think I have, is has voter turnout been dropping in the last few years, or has it always been that 14 to 15% on non-election years?
It's been terrible. Unless it's a presidential election,
Right.
then you get things out. And I agree. I'm old too, so I remember what it was mandatory. And I remember when I was a police chief in Lansing, we used to have government day, and we'd bring people with shadow us and go around and stuff like that. And I can remember used to, I don't know if you still do it, we would come in and give a class. The teacher would be there, but we'd have a day to do that every year. I don't know if that's still going. It's not just the high school or the students. It's a generation. This turnout is the people that should know better are not coming to the polls until after they elect somebody, and then they realize, why did I vote for that? And the thing's always been said is, if you keep electing the same people, you can't be surprised when you get the same results. So what I would like to see, or what I'm trying to do, and I appreciate it, and we even have a chance to hear from everybody, is there something that we could be involved in, coming to the school or bringing them out here that would do it? When I was a police chief, for 3 years we taught a class out there. It was called a cadet class for law enforcement. And the first semester, we didn't have that many people. We had a waiting list after the next 2 or 3. I guess maybe because everybody wanted to see a gun and see a taser and see all that other good stuff that goes along with it. But there was a connection there that I miss. As Lansing grew, we just didn't have enough staff to be able to do it. But there was a connection there, and that's what I'm hoping to see with if someone in high school recognizes elected official, and it doesn't have to be this person, be a board. And some of the school board issues lately have been pretty interesting in elections. If they know, they recognize that person when they see him on the street. I've heard people say before that once you get recognized, you can't go anywhere and have a meal by yourself or something. That's just like superintendents. But that's a good problem to have, because they recognize you and they can ask you questions. I get stopped in Dillon's all the time, and it's just part of when you decide to become an elected official. It's like when you're school superintendents. That's some heavy weight y'all carry on your shoulders, trying to please everybody at the same time trying to get what your curriculum is about and get the high school kids and all the kids educated. So I guess I'm looking more like and I think Mike may have said it. Is there something out there that we could get involved more with the students at the school, whether it be government day or whatever, that we could jump into? My daughter's a teacher down in Georgia, and all my kids went through Lansing, and one of them's teaching at KU. Go Jayhawks! And so there's a lot of passion in the school systems all over, and they're all good schools. My dad was stationed here. I went to Leavenworth for 1 year. Then he got sent up St. Benedictine. He went to Atchison 1 year. Then I went back to Georgia for 1 year before I graduated, but I always did come back here. So I know I'm around a little bit, but what I'm trying to get across is there something that y'all thought about that could get us back into your school, where you could get back, we could have you come up here, because we'd entertain anything to do to be able to talk to the young people or help your teachers or anything. This is just a wide open discussion, and we're just looking for what your thoughts are.
I think you kind of nailed it. I just remember County Government Day being a very important day, and we took it seriously. And we also did a lot of in-school mock elections.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing in our school.
Yeah.
And so I think that connection needs to be both ways. I don't think there's a government teacher that I know of who would decline somebody, reaching out and just explaining the importance of elections to any student.
Well, we think that's one reason we got you, because you're the top dog, the big wheel, the big cheese. You can help make these things happen for having your teachers, instructors reach out and let us say, hey, we'd gladly come in there and do that. I know I did it as a police chief every year and really enjoyed it. I just enjoy talking to people, period. But those are the things I'd like to see us get back to, is what we're talking about right now.
It was engagement. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, our students are so tuned into social media, so
Right.
there's that powerful tool to engage, but to authentically engage, it's
Right.
one-on-one. In front of the students, showing your passion for politics and the importance of elections. So they may not be getting that at home,
Yeah.
like the way they used to. So
I remember when, I remember I coached tackle football out in Lansing for about 20 years, and I'll tell you, that's the reason I probably got elected mayor, is because I got to know the parents, and the kids would see me coming, walking, and run up to me, want to have a conversation. I still think that can go both ways as far as being an elected official or just working for a county or a city or a school. So I think we're talking the same language.
yeah, I do.
Yes. I don't have a whole lot to add. More, we do the same things as these
Yeah.
school districts do. Our middle school is required to attend. Part of their civic engagement is to attend either a board meeting, a city council meeting. So that is required, and usually have about 7 to 8 students at the board meetings, and about 50 on the last one. But we also do, probably similar to these guys, I would assume, internships. We had a senior in high school last year was worked with Tim Johnson.
Okay.
Tim Johnson.
Yep.
Was able to shadow him.
Shadow him, absolutely.
We allow with our internship program, our SRO.
Right. School resource officer. Yeah.
Works with students who might want to go in law enforcement.
Right.
We have things like that, but real similar to the rest of the district.
So I'm going to ask Fran, do you have something you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. But I am, I'm open to any suggestions that, if you want me to come to school and maybe do a mock work or something, I'm happy to do that.
That's very good. Does the League of Women Voters do you want to make a statement?
Could you stand up, please? Because we can't.
Yeah, could you come up to the mic so we can hear you all?
And the people, this is live too, so people can get to see you and hear you.
Great. Well, as we submitted some ideas before this meeting on education, voting access, and information. So, there's so much out there. I guess I really feel that one of the biggest influences is you can't expect people to come to get the information from you. We need to push the information out to voters. Like right now, if you want to know who's running in the next election, you have to go to the website.
Right.
So one of the things the League is working on right now is we're going to start publishing, this is the election coming up, these are the people running. And as part of that, we usually also produce a pamphlet that these are the people, we ask them all the same questions,
Right.
and we put those out before the elections. One of the issues is, even though we are a nonpartisan group, we are seen as partisan, so some politicians will not answer the questions. So we'll have a pamphlet, and it'll be like, this is this candidate, these are their positions, and then this person did not answer the questions. So, and we don't want to put more work on Fran, but there should be information about every single candidate out there, that not necessarily, you have to produce, or we can't produce the complete information if people don't respond. So, but as far as the students, I don't know, everybody in this room is going to remember this. Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill. Yeah. So, those kind of catchy videos about how a bill becomes law, those, I don't know, I remember those pretty clearly. But, there's just so much. There's also, we've registered voters. So I think we went to Operation Grad in Lansing. I also went to the Pioneer
school, the KCK-CC, also the University of St. Mary. And probably we registered to those events 50 students. But then do they follow up and come and actually vote?
Right.
The voting can be intimidating. And you get a ballot and you're like, this judge thing, I didn't know anything about the judges. How do I have to fill it out? Can I fill out just part of the ballot?
80% of the rest of the public doesn't know either.
Well, I know. No, but I mean, there is sort of an intimidation factor.
Yeah.
People don't want to feel dumb. They want to get their ballot. I know I'm going to vote for 3 county commissioners, and it's like, ooh, what's all this other stuff? What's this? So I mean, I think it's kind of a education, being educated on all the aspects of things that can show up on your ballot. Again, the ballot is it's out there if you want to look, but people don't take that step. So I guess.
Let me ask you this, because this might go to Fran more than anything. When we set up the voting booths, or where we're going to set them up, is that set up by law, or can you set up a voting? Can you go to a certain location and vote, or do you have to have it be in a certain location for you to come to?
You have to go to a certain location.
And that's by state statute?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can't put everybody, like the early voting. Anybody can vote early voting. Anybody can vote by mail. Because all those people are all put into one place for early voting.
Well, what I was thinking about, if you've got 18-year-olds, because not everybody's at high school is old enough to vote, how could we get a student to vote? I guess we couldn't do it to high school. There'd be no way for it to be set up there for on election day that the 18-year-olds who were registered to vote could vote there.
If the school would allow it, we could do it. That would require more staff, more everything.
So Fran has done in the past. We did for the presidential election. We had a Saturday voting in Lansing at the city hall. That was staffed by the League of Women Voters, and that was very productive. And we're talking about doing another Saturday voting for the bond issue, but it gives an opportunity. Early voting is 9:30 to 3:30, 9:30 to 4. 8 to 4:30. So if you have a job, that's not very convenient. If you're going to school, that's not very convenient.
That's what I was going
So offering, Saturday voting or satellite voting, I think is a really good idea.
Well, thank you very much. Just a comment, when I was in 5th grade, I still remember going to Topeka as a page. And I remember Karen Griffiths was our state representative in Newton. I grew up in Newton. And I remember we had 3 of us that went as pages, and she took us all out to the Capitol cafeteria, and she sat down and talked to us about issues, and that just kind of piques your interest in politics. And that's just a formidable thing I remember, and it makes you interested in, however you get, whatever the hook to get a kid interested in anything is a good thing. And I know we've had classrooms, social studies classrooms come, and we've fed them lunch. They've got to go tour the sheriff's department and county attorney's office and all the offices. And I'm certain we'd be open to that, to doing more of that. We've also had a couple people come as interns. I'm sure the commissioners would be open, if you want to trace your commissioner for 2 or 3 weeks and learn what's going on here, and we have them tour the whole place. But whatever, it could be a hook to get people interested. I think that's kind of what we're interested in helping.
Let me ask one of to it, and this shows my age again. Do y'all still have elections for class president, freshman, sophomore? How do y'all work those? Because somebody has to be talking to somebody to get them to vote.
So yes is the answer. Our student council typically runs those elections, and so they put that in, and then they typically vote during their lunch period. That's there. Students also get active in campaigning for those offices, kind of like the old school way. So although they do traditional campaigning, social media is a big part of that. Those kinds of things as well. So the quick answer is yes.
Okay. Let me just jump in here a little bit. Voting to me is something that's pretty special, and I got a chance to be with the student council, get involved in civics at a very early age, and most of it at that early age was just because of the color of my skin. That's how our family started it, and it became something that was pretty special. Being a part of this group here, I think I'm probably the elder of the group.
Not by much, Willie.
Let's not fight over that status.
Well, this gentleman here is what maybe 65, and I just turned 80. So there's a lot there that I've seen that have made individuals want to vote, and I've heard individuals who do not want to vote for various reasons. Well, when you come off a campaign trail and marching on Washington, okay, in that era, which I participated in all of them, it's very disheartening to see where the vote has gone from here to here. And individuals, whether they're Democrat or Republican, doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter, because you should be voting for the person. And I don't think that individuals are being taught from home onto school that's what really matters, because we're glued to these things here 99 and 9/10% of the time, and that is a danger zone. When our grandkids come to our house, cell phones left out there, and no TV is on unless it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get that straight. So what I would like to embark upon is all of us together as a unit, not just the commissioners, not just the superintendents, but everyone as a unit, and being leaders of our county and leaders of our cities, our schools, that we can participate together to make these things happen. And I've heard here to bring in speakers. I think that would be a fantastic idea, because we need people from other walks of life to come into our lane and say, well, this is what happened to me and why I am here. Because you got to have a hook. You got to have a story. If you don't have a story, nobody listens, because you just become one of the individuals that just walks the street of Kansas and nothing goes on. Nothing. I would like to see county government get more involved in our schools and in our young kids, especially young men, because it is taught biblically that young men, they are the head of the family, but you cannot be a head unless you got someone following you. And I don't want my sister or my grandchild following a dodo that doesn't know what's going on. And so when you have individuals who are strong male images, strong female images, I think that we can have a better way of making this happen. Sorry for starting, but I've been doing that for like 80 years also. And the information that we give individuals on ballots, it's not precise enough. I don't think kids know what a bond issue is and what happens when you vote on a bond issue. They don't know whether it raises taxes. I think they do know that, well, we're going to get artificial turf in our school, because that's what people are saying. But yet when individuals are voting, they listen to the news media, and the news media tells them, well, guess what? We're going to vote for this casino, and what is it going to do for our schools? And everyone here knows they lied. Because the first thing they said was, it's going to bring money to the schools. How much money have you guys received from the school lottery? None. Absolutely none. And when I first heard that, well, they got the nerve, the audacity to say they're going to get money from gambling and they're going to turn it over to their schools. It doesn't work. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I think that the way we pitch this, it has to take a lot of thought, and I know that we don't have the answers, and I know that no one person or two individuals have the answers to these questions, or we wouldn't be here. So we really need to brainstorm together in order to make this thing work, because when I see 14, 16% voting, it just makes me want to throw up, because I've been shot at, chased by dogs, hosed, you name it, just for the right to vote. And if it's going to be just torn down into something that's mediocre or non-existent, then what was it all for? We live in the greatest country in the world, the greatest. Even with our problems, we're still the greatest. But how do we bring that on to our young men and women who are coming along, that we expect to take over when we leave what we leave behind? If we don't do something, I mean, we're going to be lost. We're 50% there already. Even with, and I like the administration, but sometimes I think, how can we follow some things that are going on? But I don't want to get into that, because that's a whole different story. But I just want to find out, what ideas can we bring out? What ideas can we bring forth? And actually bring some young people here and says, what would you like to see happen? How can we make this better for you? How can we give you better information so that you'll know what a bond issue is? And when you vote for this, what are the consequences?
So on that note, we'd like to open the courthouse to you. So if you could reach out to your teachers and let them know, we will host classes, we will host individual students, we'll do whatever we can to open this process up so that the students can actually come and meet their sheriff. They can come and they can meet their county attorney. They can know their county clerk. She can tell them, well, here's the office where it all happens. And that's what we're trying to relay to you folks, is we want to be a piece of what you're doing, because we respect what you're doing immensely, because the next generation is going to be taking over the reins. And we want them to be as educated about civics as possible. And as far as the partisan, one reason I put this iCivics is completely nonpartisan. I mean, Justice O'Connor is about as middle of the road as you could be. She was a swing vote the whole time she was on the court, but she's a very highly respected person in our country, and she wants our kids to know what's going on, and she invested a lot of her life, and so it's kind of out of respect for those things. We'd like to offer whatever we could offer. But I do have a question, though. Is it used to be Kansas history required a segment of I don't know of the block. Is that still?
Yes.
Eighth grade. Eighth grade.
Not in high school.
Ours is eighth grade.
Yeah, ours is lower, yes.
Some of the social studies standards in elementary and middle hit on Kansas history topics as well.
You say eighth grade?
Eighth graders.
Okay. So anyway, that's kind of what.
Well, I got just one thing. I think it's a good idea to bring whoever y'all went out here, but I don't want you to think that we wouldn't come to your place and one of your classes and speak on campus, if that would get a bigger crowd, or that's what you think would work better. I think it's going to take a combination of doing everything, coming in instructing, and then coming in and seeing exactly how it works. But and we don't have the answers. Y'all may have a better idea of what you think, that maybe y'all just need to ship to us one of these days.
Commissioner Smith, let me just
Let me clarify one thing too for you,
Go ahead.
because I think we teach history or even Kansas history much long before 8th grade.
Fourth
I mean,
grade.
it starts all the way back to even third
Thank
or
you.
fourth grade because I could tell it kind of hit a spot with you there.
You hear it coming.
No, it's not like here's 8th grade and here's Kansas history. It's not like that at all. I mean, there's a lot of things that are included all the way down into early primary. So
To give you a recent illustration, Representative Tim Johnson, when I was in the Kansas House, my second year there, Representative Johnson asked me to come to his class, and I thought that was fantastic. And as a result of coming to his class, I called it Government 101. I got a chance to talk to those individuals one-on-one and look them right in the eye, and they got to ask these questions about what do you do as a state representative? How did you get elected? How did it all happen? I think when they hear those kind of stories from the individual themselves, it makes a lasting impression. We have a young man in our audience right now that I believe was a part of that group when it actually happened. He's sitting right here. There's 2 or 3 other individuals that I know who are in public service now that were in Tim's class. And I asked him, I said, well, why would you want me to come and do this? He says, because you can give us stories that we're not going to get from the book. And it worked. There's at least 5 to 7 individuals that I know of personally that were in that class that are now in government business. So it will work. We just have to implement it. We got to put it to practice. That's all we're asking, or I'm asking.
Yes. Commissioners, I think the opening up of the county for us to come in is great. But Commissioner Dove, your story in particular, I think would resonate with kids and with our students at the high school, being able to tell the stories about being in Washington, D.C., some of the things that you've gone through, and why voting is so special, because I think that gets lost. The further away we get removed from those stories historically, the impact just isn't quite there. And we have become very partisan in where we're at as a nation, and I won't go there either, but the fact of the matter is, I think, Commissioner Steuben, and the fact that you can talk about working with the railroad, and this is what I do now, and this is why I went into politics after that. Those kinds of stories, I think, would be extremely powerful for our kids. So your willingness to come in and speak to our classes, I know we'll take you up on that.
Good.
Might just start at the other end and ask if you have any ideas on how we could formalize this or make it work as a formal thing, not just as talk.
I think one thing, we meet monthly, that's something that can be part of our topic of discussion, is we can brainstorm together how we
That's a
can
good idea.
further this. To me, that'd be the starting point. The direction I would go, I'd be visiting with my principals. That would be the next step. Because they may have been a part of this if they came from other districts, teachers involved. I think that's just go that direction first. I think you should start with us brainstorming how we can make this work.
I know you're all elected boards. Do you see there be any problem with your boards of us going that direction coming into the school? I know sometimes races can be a little exciting, so I just want to make sure you have someone to answer to also.
And I think as long as it's not, as long as we're going in there and sharing about it and not one side or the other.
Exactly.
I don't think there'd be any issues at all.
Okay.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I would add, nonpartisan is the key element to me, and it's all about connecting the right people who are on the right seats. As we've talked, whether that's our CT coordinator who does a lot with our internship placements or our social studies department chair. I think there's a lot of natural fits that our team would be excited about. It's just determining who's the best person on our team's end to connect with who's the best person on your team to get boots to the ground.
And we'd be happy, at some point, even to meet with your social studies teachers or the next layer down, and get their input on how they think maybe like bringing classes over to the county or having a county government day. I know back in Harvey County we did. Mark, has there been a government day in Leavenworth County?
Probably the problem is size. You take Lansing, Leavenworth, Tonganoxie, and Basehor.
We probably have several.
It's a lot different than the number of kids that are coming into for that day. It was a lot of kids just in Nemaha County.
Right.
Yeah.
In Sabetha or Seneca and Baylorville and Centralia, and I couldn't even imagine trying to logistically pull that off, in one day. Thus, it was just representatives of each school.
Well, and I think, we'd be open to, it doesn't have to be one day. It could be one day for Leavenworth or one day for, but because this is something we want to help with, whatever, and I think with some of the kids, like I'm thinking of one particular one that was in Representative Johnson's class and is now very young, but in Topeka, he's really pulls a lot of weight as far as consulting and all that type of thing. But he got involved so young. I don't know, 18, I think. I mean, just
I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. Yes.
I don't want to name him, but
saw that one coming.
I think there'd be some if we bring some of these kids in, we might inspire some of them into public service.
One thing I wanted to add, I'm a lot past 65, Willie. One thing I want to add, my dad, I'm an Army brat, so I got to live all over the world, but I was growing up in the 60s. So when Willie said that, I started thinking about some things. When I was down in Columbus, Georgia, Fort Benning, I can remember the voting issues. I can remember KKK walking through the main streets of Columbus, Georgia, and me asking my dad what's going on there, and he goes, something you never want to be part of, son. I can remember being up in the 60s. My dad was stationed at the Pentagon, and every month he'd take us to the Smithsonian or he'd take us someplace like that. And I remember seeing the protest up there. Back then it was a hippie, which probably what I was eventually. But I can remember seeing the clashes like that. So that stuck in my mind about why we would want to do things and treat other people like that. So that stayed with me all my life. I'm 70 years old, going to be 71 next month, and that stayed with me all my life about things that Willie touched on when I heard him say that. That's stuff that students need to hear. Folks, these people were fighting for the right to vote, and I don't care what color you are, whatever it is. And I think Willie hit it right. We've lost that. We have just lost that. A certain amount of group will vote, and they'll do social media, and then it's just terrible the way things. I think sometimes people just, not high school students, have just given up. They just have given up, and they just don't. What's my vote going to make a difference? Well, I can tell you what a vote made a difference in Lansing. We had a vote that was tied, and years ago when I was a city administrator, and now they did it. They brought the two candidates in. They flipped a coin, and whoever got tails got it, and that's how they won. We had one just recently where we had a gentleman in Ward 4. It was one vote different. So they had to do a recount. So when people sometimes say that one vote doesn't matter, it absolutely, I've seen it firsthand how it matters. So that's the thing we have to drive across. But we got to start at that early age at high school people and get them involved. And they're at their own age. They're going their own different ways. We understand that, but we can at least keep taking a stab at it. I think it would help.
Is that how we still take care of a tie vote? We flip a coin?
Yeah, it gets to that, yeah.
So
That was exciting. Heads, felt like I was at a Kansas City Chiefs football game. Heads, tails, you get to receive, no, you don't. So I didn't realize that until I saw it firsthand.
Well, and I know, like one thing engagement with the county and with folks up here is one thing. Even when you take government, you don't always get everything. And I know I didn't in high school. You don't always get the fact that the Republican Party elects a precinct committee man and a precinct committee woman in each precinct, and then those people are the people that run that elect the officers of the party, and then it just goes on up to congressional district and then the state, and it's the same way in the Democratic Party. And those people are elected when you go vote in the primary. But you don't always learn that in school because you're trying to learn the three branches of government. But when you get a little deeper into it, it's pretty in depth, and some kids will be very interested in it. Others will not.
So we made the pitch to you. I don't know if y'all at your meeting want to come up with a plan, or you just want to and get back with us, or how you want to start it. But we'd be willing to talk to you anytime to see what y'all come with. I'm glad to see y'all meet together. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Who should be our point of contact with the commissioners?
Well,
Mike's the chair.
I'm the chair, or Mark Lawfrey over there.
Mark Lawfrey.
We like to put as much work on Mark Lawfrey as possible.
Or you can find any of us anywhere.
But we really appreciate you coming, and any further ideas that you have. But if you want to get on this website, this iCivics, it's wonderful. It just seems like a wonderful thing.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it, and ladies. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for coming. Really do appreciate your participation.
We appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Very good.
That's 45 minutes.
Very good.
Didn't have very good sound. We're going to fix that.